As we approach the NBA trade deadline, we may see some picks get traded over the next few weeks. So today, I want to do my final mock draft before this year's trade deadline. And since it's about to be trade deadline season as well, let's have some trades implemented in today's mock draft for fun. And conference play in college basketball is in full effect. We're starting to also figure out what teams are going to be maybe tanking in the second half of the NBA season to help out their draft stock. And I'm just really excited about the 2026 draft. I'm going to be dropping some more draft content on the channel over the next few weeks, including this mock draft, obviously. And then we're also going to be dropping my mid-season top 30 prospect update, hopefully this week as well. So make sure you're subscribed, and let's get into this lottery sim. All right, so let's simulate this lottery as well. Atlanta gets lucky from New Orleans that they have a good chance here at getting the #1 overall pick in the draft as well. So we'll see what ends up transpiring. They don't get that lucky though, because they are going to drop a ton. They're going to drop to pick number 5, which could definitely happen on the night of the draft. It happened to Utah last year. Washington, Brooklyn, and Charlotte all take a hit. Welcome to #1 Sacramento. Indiana actually stays at #2. Utah goes up to #3. Dallas moves up to #4 as well. This is definitely a realistic scenario. You're going to have Milwaukee keeping their first because it's a swap with New Orleans. Memphis gets #10. OKC gets 11 from the Clippers. San Antonio gets #12. Chicago at 13. That's just usually where they are. And Portland here at 14, which is still lottery protected to the Bulls. So let's start off this draft. I'm going to use the Fanspo big board as well. Once I kind of craft my big board update, I can implement that into Fanspo, and that's why this is the goated mock draft simulator website. Link to this will be in the description. It's not sponsored, but they've helped me make so much good draft content in years past. So Sacramento gets blessed here at #1. Now, this is a very interesting team to be picking at #1 because I actually think this would be different to my big board. This is me thinking maybe what they would do going forward. And honestly, if Sacramento got #1, I would take Darren Peterson. That is your guard that can succeed De'Aaron Fox and Halliburton. That's what you were missing to when you had both those guys back in 2022. Darren Peterson had such a good game recently against Baylor. After somewhat struggling in a way against Iowa State, one of the best defenses in the country, it was Peterson's maybe first bad game shooting wise, but this man looks so good out there. It's like a carbon copy potentially of Anthony Edwards. And it's crazy too because all these guys had really good games as of late, like Cameron Boozer balled out against Stanford. But I think if Sacramento gets #1, they're going to look for that #1 scoring option long term. I do think you could set up the rest of your team with Darren Peterson, but they've kind of never really had this great scoring wing. Like obviously DeMar DeRozan has his pros, but he's 36 years old, and now you're taking somebody that you hope is actually the best scoring prospect we have seen since Kevin Durant, who can get to his spots with ease, can play a little bit more methodical in Sacramento as well, where he's going to have the ball a ton going forward. It's not like he's going to be a 3rd or 4th option, because if he gets drafted by the Atlanta Hawks, right, like they have Jalen Johnson, if he gets drafted by the Pacers, they have Halliburton and Pascal Siakam as well. So Sacramento probably going to move on from DeRozan, may eventually move on from Sabonis in the next year or so, and same with Zach LaVine as well. And now you have Debanta and Keegan Murray as your wings going forward. And I think it gives them the most upside. I think AJ Debanta, out of all these guys, I think probably has the best chance at being like a 28 point per game scorer at the NBA level, a little bit more than Peterson. I have Peterson ranked higher, which is, I guess, a sneak peek of the big board, but I do like Debanta enough to go #1, especially to Sacramento. That is one of my favorite fits. Hopefully, it's a new head coach as well, and they're going to move on from Doug Christie moving forward. So at #2, Indiana gets blessed here. You can make an argument that you think Cameron Boozer is the #1 player in the draft, but I think the way that Rick Carl likes to operate, I've said this so much, and that's why I think if Indiana had a choice of any of these prospects in this draft, they would go Darren Peterson. I know they have Nembhard. Obviously, they have Tyrese Halliburton moving forward. But if you have Andrew Nembhard, there's no reason to say that we're not going to take Darren Peterson, who might be close to a generational guard prospect. He's the best guard prospect we have seen since maybe Kyrie Irving. I was there for the Cade Cunningham hype. I was there for the Trae Young hype. Luka Doncic was very hyped, but he didn't go #1 or even #2 overall in that 2018 draft. I think Darren Peterson really has a case to be the best guy we have seen in quite some time. Maybe Anthony Edwards, but if you remember, Anthony Edwards wasn't even a lock to go #1 back in 2020. There was a little bit of Wiseman, a little bit of LaMelo Ball, but I love Darren Peterson. He looks so good. And he's maybe only playing like 80% healthy with the hamstring injury that has been lingering at Kansas. He can get to the rim with ease. He has such a quick release. And if that shot really becomes a lethal part of his game, like that 3-point shot, this guy can actually average 30 points per game at the NBA level and maybe be the next Kobe Bryant, Anthony Edwards. Like he's going to have some crazy comps, maybe Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as well. I'm a big Darren Peterson fan. And the fact that Indiana could have a Darren Peterson, Tyrese Halliburton backcourt going forward would be absolute insanity. And I think that would make them maybe the favorites to win the 2026 finals. Like, who knows how the rest of the season is going to go, but I'm thinking like next year, Detroit, Boston with Tatum back, and Tyrese Halliburton playing with Darren Peterson in Indiana will be at the top of things. So Utah at 3, they get very lucky. Now, I have loved Caleb Wilson so much this year, and I think he's 100% played his way to being maybe in that tier 1 conversation. I can't justify him going over Cameron Boozer. Watch what Caleb Wilson did against Stanford, which was good. But watch what Cameron Boozer did against Stanford as well. They played each other, or excuse me, they both played the Cardinals in back-to-back games, and Cameron Boozer could be a perfect Utah Jazz going forward. You have Walker Kessler at the 5. He could play out there with Markkanen. Maybe you trade away Markkanen. And this actually gives Utah a tier 1 prospect moving forward. Cameron Boozer has done nothing but win so far in his basketball career in high school, Team USA stuff, and what he's doing right now with Duke, as they are one of the best teams in the country. You can make an argument Cameron Boozer is the best player in the country. He's super efficient around the rim. He's not as athletic as Peterson or Debanza, so people may say he has a lower ceiling than those two guys, at least as like a number 1 scoring option, which is definitely fair. But you get Cameron Boozer with Keontae George, Ace Bailey, and Walker Kessler going forward. Whatever you get out of like Walter Clayton, Collier, Sensabaugh, maybe Taylor Hendricks plays more in the second half. Maybe Cody Williams improves in what he's doing as of late as well. And I'm just excited about Utah if they can get Cameron Boozer. And then hopefully they're actually in the play-in tournament convo in 2027. I do wonder like if that changes what they view Lauri Markkanen with going forward. So at number 4, we have Dallas. Another, I don't know, like Dallas could try to find the successor point guard to Kyrie Irving. Maybe they fall in love with Mikael Brown, Phylon Flemings, etc. But I think you got to go Caleb Wilson. I think right now, Caleb Wilson has kind of outplayed everybody that should be in the conversation going number 4. He's outplayed, I think, Koa Pete. He's outplayed Nate Ament. He's outplayed Jaden Quainance. He's outplayed, for the most part, I think Flemings, Brown, Phylon, but teams may want a primary ball handler a little bit more. This guy is going to be a menace defensively. Anthony Davis isn't going to be on this roster for much longer. PJ Washington could also get traded, and that's not a reason to not take Caleb Wilson. He is such a dog defensively, and I think that's what Dallas needs. They can have a Duke small forward in Cooper Flagg. They can have a UNC power forward in Caleb Wilson. Caleb Wilson can also play the small ball 5. I'm worried about his shot. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I don't know if it's ever going to come around. I don't love the mechanics. It does feel a little bit clunky, a little bit rushed at times as well. But he's going to be such an intense defender. He plays with a lot of enthusiasm. This team right now does not own their first round pick for 2027. So Caleb Wilson helps them out going forward. So just a quick top 4. Debanza to Sacramento, Peterson to Indiana, Boozer to Utah, and Caleb Wilson to Dallas. 3 of those 4 teams are in the Western Conference, which is just kind of hilarious. So we're on the board here at number 5 with the Atlanta Hawks. Well, they just traded away their point guard in Trae Young. I don't think Dyson Daniels has shown that he's a good enough shooter to really lock him in as the franchise point guard going forward. Obviously, they like to have Jalen Johnson out there with the ball in his hands, but I think it comes down to like what point guard you like the most. Flemings is probably the best defensive point guard out of these 4, which I do feel like this is the tier 1 of point guards in this draft. Peterson's kind of like a combo guard. If you're looking for the best scorer, it might be Phylon. If you're looking for maybe the most complete player on both ends, it could end up being Mikael Brown. I'm going to have Kingston Flemings go number 5 here. I don't know if I'm going to end up having Flemings higher than Brown and Phylon by the time the NBA draft happens. I love Phylon a ton this year. I don't know if Atlanta would love Phylon's defense enough because with their new identity, I think you appreciate what Flemings can do defensively. He's very efficient right now at Houston. He's got a great pull-up jumper. The court vision is good. He likes to dive for loose balls. He's very smart already, and the fact that he is this high of a role under Kelvin Sampson at Houston says a lot about the kid. So we're going to have Kingston Flemings go 5 there to the Atlanta Hawks. Washington gets a little bit unlucky here with the lottery, obviously. They just trade for Trae Young, so they're not really in the market for a point guard per se. So I'm going to have them go with a big. I like Koa Pete, but I wonder, like, Koa Pete has been a non-shooter this year at Arizona, but he's been a very dominant inside scorer, and he likes to play physical as well, kind of like Axel Lenneberg in a way, although Lenneberg is a better shooter, but I think they might like that in Washington. Now, Jaden Quaidance and Alex Sarr in the front court entices me a lot, so this one definitely becomes a little bit interesting if you're Washington. Now, you have Alex Sarr at the 5 who can space the floor, so it does make Koa Pete a little bit intriguing. Do you like Nate Ament here, Braylon Mullins as a shooter? I think I'm going to go with Koa Pete here. I think if you have 4 of their shooters out out there with Pete, you can make it work a little bit more. He's a little bit more physical than Jaden Quaidance. I would say right now, we've only seen like 4 or 5 games from Jaden Quaidance off that ACL tear. And I think Washington does not want to have maybe another project offensively, and they want Pete, who's got a great touch around the rim. And you can have Sar on the perimeter or in the corner, which can allow the paint to be a little bit more open for Koa Pete. And they kind of have that power forward spot open. Maybe it's Bilal, maybe it's Koa Pete going forward. I like them going some spot there in the front court because they just traded for at least their short-term point guard in Trae Young. So at number 7, we have Brooklyn, a team that took a lot of guards last year. But if you're watching the Nets this year, I mean, Yegor has still operated as a 1, but he likes to take a ton of threes right now. He's basically playing like AJ Green out there. Traore has shown flashes. Ben Sharaf might be a little bit more of a project guy going forward. But I think this team will need offense moving forward. I like the idea of LeBaron Philon, who I don't think needs to be your prototypical 1 out there and can kind of operate as a combo guard, but so could Mikal Brown Jr. as well. But you needed to see him be more efficient. He's been banged up at Louisville this year, but he's shooting sub 40% from the field, sub 30% from 3. That's just not going to cut it right now as well. They could end up going Jaden Quaidance based off the defense, but I don't really know if that makes the most sense for the Brooklyn Nets right now. So if I'm mocking it, I'm going to think Mikal Brown Jr. just because of the size and the defensive intangibles and what he was for like Team USA, playing with like AJ Debanta in the U19s a year ago. So I'm going to go Mikal Brown Jr. here. He doesn't have to be per se the 1 because they have a ton of point guards right there. It's just not a great wing draft. And I'm going to talk about that maybe ad nauseum leading up to the NBA draft. We don't have like Cooper Flagg, Ace Bailey, Con Knipple, like a bunch of wings that we saw at the top half of the 2025 NBA draft. Like once you get AJ Debanta off the board, not a lot of wings, because Caleb Wilson kind of plays like a big, Peterson's a guard, Boozer's like a big as well. So that's why we could see just not that many wings in the draft, at least in the top 10. Like Cole Pete does not play like a wing whatsoever. Nate Ament's been struggling a little bit at the start of the year. He's been coming around a little bit as of late. So 8 here, Charlotte. I like the idea of Jaden Quaidance here. This team does not need to take a point guard. They don't have to end up taking a Philon or a Cuff. Maybe they're the best player available. I like Braylon Mullins as a shooter, but he kind of took Con Knipple last year. I like Yesufu. I like Wagler a little bit as well, but feels high. If you want somebody NBA ready, like Yaxel is definitely that guy. Nate Ament's a little bit of a project. I will say I need to see more out of Quaidance, but I do think as long as like we're getting further away from his ACL tear, he's going to look better out there. And I still think he could be the best defensive rim protector in this draft. I think that's what Charlotte needs. So I'm going to have Jaden Quaidance go to the Hornets there at number 8. The Bucks here at number 9, they just got to go best player available. I don't want to see them go Yaxel Lendenberg, though. I would like somebody with a higher ceiling. Braylon Mullins could make a little bit of sense. Thomas Howe could definitely make a ton of sense as well. Chris Sinak has been really good as of late. I'm a big Yesufu fan, but that could be a little bit high for them there as well. I think Philon could be good enough offensively. I know KPJ has been good this year, and I know Ryan Rollins obviously could be the 1 or the 2 going forward. I'm going to have them go LeBaron Philon, but in my mind, they should have more draft picks on the night of the 2026 draft because they should really look to trade away Giannis Antetokounmpo. So yeah, LeBaron Philon going to the Milwaukee Bucks at number 9. This guy's been a tremendous scorer this year at Alabama. He could be the 1, he could be the 2. He could play out there with Ryan Rollins going forward. And then we kind of have our backcourt for the future in Milwaukee. So at number 10, Memphis, we could also look at the successor to John Morant, but I don't really want to go that route. So I kind of want to take, this team should not go for like Yaxel, a little bit of an older player. Hans Steinbeck could make a little bit of sense. I like Thomas Houck as like another wing for this team, but I think based off the shooting upside, I like Braylon Mullins because I think you can have Braylon Mullins out there as a 2, out there as a 3. I'd probably like him a little bit more long-term than Jalen Wells. We'll see. And I think he could be a nice wing duo partner with Cedric Howard for years to come. I don't think they end up trading Ja. They definitely could, but we can have just another good scoring wing who can maybe be like their best shooter since trading away Desmond Bane. I would be surprised if he's as good of a shooter as Desmond Bane, but it's definitely a viable option for them there at 10. So here were the first 10 picks. We basically saw a lot of guys go to the West in the top 5, and then we saw Flemings to Atlanta, Pete to Washington, Brown to Brooklyn, Quaidance to Charlotte, LeBaron Philon to Milwaukee. So a couple guys going to the East there, and then Braylon Mullins to the Memphis Grizzlies. All right, so I know I haven't had any trades yet. I just don't know if anybody would really move up within these spots specifically. Like if you're landing a top 3 pick, unless you're getting like a top 10 player in the NBA offer, sure. And like the one team here that I think could end up trading for Giannis would probably be the Hawks, but they need a top 3 pick to really go out and get Giannis. I don't think Milwaukee's trading up. I don't think anybody here is really moving up right now. I think they like what they got, but we'll eventually get to some trades. I thought about a trade potentially here at number 11 for OKC. Now, I don't think that they're going to draft all 3 first-round picks here, so that's where we can have a trade idea kind of in mind today, but who fits OKC the best? I think they could take like a high upside swing on Nate Ament. You get him in that OKC developmental system. They are going to have a bunch of maybe moving parts over the next few years with the second apron, right? Like Hartenstein, $28 million team option. He's vital to their success, so they may actually pick that up, but they got to probably choose between Hartenstein or Dort. You have Caruso's large contract, Joe, Wiggins, and some of these guys going forward. Case and Wallace is going to have to get paid soon. Would they look to just maybe land another big? Do they kind of like a high upside wing? But they got Sorber and Topic coming over as well, so you kind of already have some other bigs. I don't mind Tony Yesufu, but I think they need a little bit more of a proven shooter. And that might just end up being Thomas Houck, which is kind of high here at number 11, but he's NBA ready. He can move well without the ball in his hands. He can hold his own defensively. I think it's a little high for Cameron Carr. Maybe they take Kareem Lopez here, who kind of fits their mold as well, and you hope that he could be the stretch four, basically, who can kind of guard multiple positions, and you just hope he's a lot better than like your Ousmane Dieng project from a couple years ago. I like Kareem Lopez as a lottery pick in this draft, but they might just go Jackson Lendenberg, who could just be a monster on the glass, him or Hans Steinbeck, honestly. So do they want to go like kind of like a proven player like Lendenberg, or maybe a little bit higher upside in Steinbeck, a little bit larger as well going forward, and you can maybe run some double big lineups out there with Steinbeck and Chet Holmgren. So I'm going to take Steinbeck maybe in their mind. We're trying to think about life after Isaiah Hartenstein in a way. Atlanta just lost today on MLK Day to the Milwaukee Bucks, and they were getting blown out at one point. I'm like, yeah, I feel like it's going to be a lock that Atlanta is giving up another lottery pick from their possession from the DeJounte Murray trade to the San Antonio Spurs. So we're kind of playing at house money here with the San Antonio Spurs. I don't mind Keaton Wagler. I know it's another guard, but I would like to get somebody that I can trust with their shot. I think it comes down to maybe Nate Ament or Thomas Houck. Nate Ament, high upside swing here. I think they go with that as well. They kind of like that mold with Carter Bryant last year. Ament really struggled once they started to play some better competition at the start of the season, but he's looking a little bit better, looking more aggressive as of late as well. I think his draft position is going to be polarizing when it's all said and done. 13, the Chicago Bulls. They love to pick in this range. This is tough. I mean, Giddey's your franchise point guard. Buzelis is locked in for the long haul. Chris Sinak has been playing better as of late. I think this is maybe a little bit high for Patrick Gungba over from Duke. I don't think this should be a Lendenberg team. I mean, if Sinak, who was a top 10 player for me preseason, keeps this up, this could definitely be a Chris Sinak pick here. They could definitely use another wing in Thomas Houck, but I think they could end up going, I don't mind Tony Yesufu. I'm going to go Tony Yesufu. Yeah, we maybe run into some three-point shooting issues with him and Josh Giddey, but I want to get somebody that's one of the most athletic players in this class that could be an extremely impressive downhill attacker right away with Montas Buzelis. Yeah, there's some floor spacing issues with this team, but I think we need to go high upside, and that's what Yesufu is. I just don't like Darius Akuff with Josh Giddey long-term, and you hope Yesufu's shot gets better throughout Big 12 play. I mean, Portland here at 14, they can go a bunch of different options as well. I thought about potentially trading this pick in my mind, but this team has a lot of older guards, like Drew Holiday's getting up there in age. Damian Lillard's coming off a torn Achilles. Scoot Henderson is still hurt with the hamstring injury. You have Shaedon Sharpe playing good basketball as of late. Denny Diaz is going to be an all-star. Klingon looks like he's a long-term answer. I mean, Jackson Lendenberg can help you right away. Physical guy, down low, can space the floor somewhat, shooting around 34% from three this season. But I think that's why I like Thomas Houck. I think he's a little bit better as like a projected shooter in this league. I could also see the reason for Kareem Lopez, but they went such a raw player in Hansen Yang last year. I don't want to double up on that. I don't mind the athleticism of Chris Sinak either, who could space the floor. And I know you have Tumani Kamara in that role as well. I mean, Darius Akuff might be just too good to pass up on. Yeah, it's tough. Like, I don't mind Keaton Wagler either. Like, another bench scorer has been great. They're just going to have so many guards next year. I don't know if I want to go that route specifically. So I like Houck. I like Keaton Wagler a ton, who's got the size, can kind of be a wing in a way. And I don't know if I'm fully set on Caleb Love, who's been great this year as like a long-term backup guard. Like Ryan Rupert is going to come and go. Yeah, you're going to have like Dame Drew for now, but I think going forward, I don't mind having Wagler as a bench guard for you moving forward, who I've been very impressed from this year at Illinois. So I've thought about maybe a trade here with the Miami Heat at 15. Do we maybe call it the Memphis Grizzlies? Do they want to make a trade for Ja Morant in a way? I mean, we could have some fun with that idea. Give Memphis a third first-round pick on the night of the draft. I know Miami's kind of been reported, or it's been reported that maybe they're not going to be interested in adding somebody like Ja Morant. So I'm going to take Darius Akuff here. He's been one of the best passing point guards, at least in the SEC, maybe in the country this year. He's been really picking up steam as of late. I think the shot could definitely be something that, can you fully buy into that he's going to be this great shooter at the NBA level? Can he hold his own defensively? A little bit of a smaller guard in today's NBA, but I do think this could be a Miami Heat pick with them at number 15. 16, Memphis here. I don't think I'm going to have a trade here. I have two trades in mind. I would like to get a third one in at one point, but I don't think Memphis is like buying by any means, right? So we drafted Braylon Mullins at 10. I Chris Sinak is interesting, but I also worry about Chris Sinak as a rebounder, and we already have that issue with Triple J. So I'm going to go Thomas Houck here, who I maybe thought a little bit earlier at number 10 for Memphis. I think he's just a good off-ball player, good cutter, good slasher. He's very smart around the rim. He's got great patience, great timing, and I think that could be useful in Memphis going forward. So I'm going to take him with the 16th pick. You could definitely justify taking somebody like Bennett Sturts with that selection as well. So OKC gets Philadelphia's 17th overall pick. Like, is there a player out there that we can like mock trade to OKC? I mean, if they want Trey Murphy, they probably have the assets to go out and get Trey Murphy. They might have to give up the 11th overall pick. I don't think that New Orleans will be trading Trey Murphy. Do we like Herb Jones in OKC? I don't really know if they need another like defensive first guy that has some shooting concerns. You know what? I'm going to have OKC add a little bit of shooting here. Maybe they'd like a shooting wing and not another guard, but we're going to have some fun here today. We're going to have what Chicago should do at the deadline, and they're going to send OKC some shooting. So I guess theoretically, if you prefer this to be Ayo Dosunmu, can, but you can also have Kobe White go to the Oklahoma City Thunder, who's making around $12 million, and you can get somewhat there of the matching salary of like an Ousmane Dieng. I don't know if they want to trade a Kenrich Williams, but he can get there financially as well. So we're going to say one of the guards in Chicago, Kobe White or Ayo Dosunmu, going to OKC, who could really help out their three-point shooting, which has been kind of a mess at times this year. It might make more sense for it to be Ayo because you might feel a little bit more comfortable about Ayo being a three-point shooter at the end of the day. So yeah, we're going to have basically one of those guys going there, and Chicago is going to get on the clock here, who we took Tonde Yesufu with the 13th overall pick. And I'm going to have them go high upside here, Chris Sinak. He's actually, maybe his rebounding numbers are better than I initially thought, but I would like for him to be a little bit more physical. Maybe it's more so the rim protection numbers in my head. How is the defense going to look? But Chicago should be embracing a youth movement. They should have multiple first-round picks in this 2026 NBA draft. Go out and get who's my maybe center one going into the year, and Chris Sinak, who got off to a little bit of a slower start at Houston, but has been really picking it up as Big 12 play started. So we're on the clock here, 18 with the Atlanta Hawks. They get this pick from the DeAndre Hunter trade, which is kind of like a swap on a swap, if you will, because San Antonio has a swap with Atlanta, and we already swapped those picks because we had San Antonio get, I think it was Nate Ament earlier, right? Yeah, we had them get Nate Ament there at 12, which means Cleveland is going to have the swap from Atlanta here, but that gets swapped with San Antonio later in the draft. I know this is about to be a very interesting draft in terms of swaps also. Do I think Atlanta can make a trade? I don't think so. We got Kingston Flemings at number 5. I think they want to select 2 guys here. I mean, this team has kind of been all over the place this year. I don't know if I love Bennett Sturts. At times, they like to prioritize some defense as well. I feel like Joshua Jefferson could make a ton of sense. Kind of like a jack of all trades, master of none guy. I love the Kyle Anderson comp with him. I don't like Neo Abdelas that much. They could go with Christian Anderson as another shooter. Jackson Lindenberg, a little bit more NBA ready for this team going forward, who wants to be good in 2027. So I'm going to take Jackson Lindenberg, honestly. Has a lot of dog in him, very physical around the rim, great touch, and I do believe the three-point shot can come around as well. So I'm going to have Lindenberg go there. 19, I know they said they're not interested, but we are trading at least this first rounder. I could send this to Milwaukee for like Miles Turner, Jonathan Kuminga. I thought about either sending Michael Porter Jr. or this pick in a Michael Porter Jr. trade or this pick in a Miles Turner trade, because I don't think it would be completely shocking if they traded away Miles Turner this year at the deadline. I feel like Miles Turner would be a good Warrior. I just don't know how they feel about that contract long term. But let's get the Brooklyn Nets involved. We can say 19 is going to Brooklyn. We're going to have probably multiple first round picks in this trade as well. Kuminga assets going to Brooklyn, MPJ to Golden State. So yeah, Brooklyn's gonna at least get this pick from a Michael Porter Jr. trade. We'll say that they actually get more interested in an MPJ trade as that tertiary scoring option. Like, the Warriors defense this year has been pretty good. It's their offense that they're kind of lacking a weapon on. And we think the Nets would definitely value multiple first round picks in this draft as well. We went Mikal Brown Jr. at number 7. I don't mind Patrick Gungba. Kareem Lopez, a little bit raw of a prospect as well. I'm just kind of looking here if there's anybody I'm higher on in this draft that they could potentially look to select here. And I think this team could look for like another scoring wing. I mean, Neo Alvadelas has not been that efficient this year, but is definitely intriguing and I guess fits that like Nolan Traore, Ben Suraf role in Brooklyn. It's a little high for me. I'm not the biggest fan, but I could definitely see Sean Marks doing it. Isaiah Evans, if they're looking for some three-point shooting. Hey, Yegor has just been a shoot guy. We can go out and get Isaiah Evans there as well, who's one of the better shooters in this draft. But I like Cameron Carr's athleticism more than Isaiah Evans. I think he could be a little bit better around the rim as well. So this is one of the assets. Maybe it's Kuminga, maybe it's Moody in a Michael Porter Jr. trade. So we are on the clock there. 20, Toronto. I've thought about a trade with them as well. Could they be a team that goes out and trades for Anthony Davis? Could they be a team that goes out and trades for Domantas Sabonis, who just came back from an injury as well? And I'm going to have Domantas Sabonis to the Toronto Raptors in exchange for probably like Quickly, Pirtle, RJ Barrett, two of those three guys, one first round pick this year, maybe one more first round pick down the line. So the Sacramento Kings kind of going into that rebuild a little bit more. We got AJ DeBanza with the #1 overall pick. I think Bennett Sturts or Christian Anderson would make a ton of sense for this team here at number 21. I'm going to take Bennett Sturts, who's got great IQ. He's a great shooter. The guy does not turn the ball over at Iowa, and I think that could translate to the NBA level. I'd like him under a completely new system, who doesn't really need the ball in his hands entirely, because you're going to have Keegan Murray, you're going to have AJ DeBanza out there, and now I'm really excited about the Kings' future with Murray, Sturts, DeBanza, whatever Clifford or Reynaud or Cardwell can give you going forward. I want everybody playing on this team next year like under the age of 26. They have their first round pick next year. Go and embrace this rebuild, especially if you get #1. The Knicks here at 21. Oh boy, does this team need a lot. This team looks lifeless right now. I know Brunson got hurt. I know Josh Hart's been hurt, but this team has looked like one of the worst teams in the NBA since the clock hit, or the year hit 2026. So I think they could definitely use some athletic wings. I like the idea of Joshua Jefferson as well, a good athlete that could shoot, pass, defend a little bit. That's going to be my selection here. He does not have as high of an upside as like a Kareem Lopez or as a Christian Anderson, but I need somebody that can guard guys on the perimeter. I need somebody that could be a good pick and roll setter who can operate out of the short roll for Jalen Brunson. And here's another trade I had in my mind. Charlotte's got 2 first-round picks. Now, I don't know if they have to give up their 2027 Dallas first for this, but Dallas is getting on the clock here at 22. We have Anthony Davis going to the Charlotte Hornets, who have been one of the best offenses in the NBA this season. AD does not need to play for them, so they could still lose their games in the second half. Imagine adding a top 10 pick in this draft plus Anthony Davis for basically Josh Green, Colin Sexton, maybe Miles Bridges, maybe Pat Connaughton, maybe Trey Mann. Like, if it costs you 1 first-round pick, maybe you got to give Dallas their 2027 first, who knows? But if it's going to cost you 1 later first-round pick plus just matching salary, hell yeah. I want to get Anthony Davis in Charlotte. That's exactly what they need going forward as well. Because earlier for Charlotte, we ended up getting Jaden Quaidance. Yeah, Anthony Davis mentoring Jaden Quaidance would be great. You can even put them out there at the same time. I'm a big fan of that going forward with LaMelo, Con Knipple, Braden Miller, what T. John Solana has been giving you lately as well. So we're on the clock here, 22 with Dallas. We took Caleb Wilson a little bit earlier. Easy pick for me. Christian Anderson out of Texas Tech. Christian Anderson has been an absolute bucket this year. Watch the Texas Tech game at MSG against Duke. His shot making when the lights were the brightest were phenomenal. He was great for Team Germany in the U19s, and I think he could definitely be a first-round pick as well. I worry about the defense a little bit, but Dallas doesn't need defense. They need ball handlers and they need shooters right now. And Christian Anderson and Caleb Wilson around Cooper Flagg, hell yeah, that is a great way to start the rebuild as well around Cooper Flagg. So on the clock here with the Lakers at 23, they could be an Isaiah Evans team. They could be Ryan Conwell, Braden Burries, Malik Thomas, one of these shooters. But I like Patrick Gungba here. Who knows if DeAndre Ayton is going to be on this team next year? I think Gungba could be a great screen setter for Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, and he can catch alley-oops as well. He's got really good hands around the rim, and he's very efficient down low. So I feel like the Lakers, if he's on the board, that could be an easy pick there. So for the Thunder, we had them get Ayo Dosunmu or Kobe White in a trade. They took Hans Steinbeck at number 11, so I think they can go with another forward in a way. I feel like Kareem Lopez makes a ton of sense here. I actually have him ranked a lot higher than 24 on my big board, but this just feels like an OKC developmental pick as well. Somebody that's probably not going to play too much in his rookie season. He's going to spend a lot of time with the Oklahoma City Blue in the G League, but can definitely be a viable forward for them moving forward. The Timberwolves, a lot of the good point guards are off the board. I mean, they may fall in love with Braden Smith. They might like Dash Daniels' defense, Chase Ross, Adrian Woolley, some of these guys as well. Malik Thomas, I don't really think is a point guard. So I think we just got to get like a wing score for them. Neil Abdelas gives them a little bit of size. I like Isaiah Evans. I think Isaiah Evans is one of the better shooters in this draft class as well. It's maybe not been as positive as I would have liked going into this year, but I'm a big fan of Isaiah Evans, and you don't have to take a point guard here. They can end up signing a point guard in free agency as well. Boston at 26, Isaiah Evans would have made a ton of sense for that Missoula ball. They do need a big man, like Henry Vasar is playing like a first-round pick. Ade Mara is playing like a first-round pick as well. Do they like Malik Thomas, who's maybe not the greatest defender, but this guy can knock down threes? Braden Burries, I like a lot. Ryan Conwell could be a good three-point shooter. For Boston, it's kind of interesting. I'm a big Dalen Swain fan as well. You just want him to be a little bit better of a three-point shooter, but he's basically like that Jordan Walsh, Josh Minot archetype. Dash Daniels for his defense. But I'm going to take Ryan Conwell, who is one of the better three-point shooters in this draft as well, shooting around 38%, I believe, or 37% from three this year at Louisville. We're on the clock with Denver at 27. Do they want to look for another big behind Jokic going forward? I think they could look for another guard slash wing, and Tim Hardaway Jr. has been this nice spark plug for them and has been one of the better bang for your buck free agents. I like Malik Thomas here, who knows like what Christian Brown's going to look like. Are they going to be able to re-sign Watson? Julian Strother's probably not going to be here too much longer, I would say. So I like Malik Thomas as a big time shot maker for this team. Cleveland at 28. I think they could look to invest in a backup big. I like Henry Vasar. I like JT Toppin. I like Ademar a lot. I think he's actually a solid passer for somebody his size, a massive body as well. I think I maybe trust Vasar's health a little bit more than Mara, but I like this upside swing for Cleveland there for Mara. 29 Detroit. I mean, JT Toppin plays with a lot of energy. I mean, Zuby Ejiofor, Floyd Badunga, I like a lot as well. Taurus Reed. I'm going to have Vasar go. I think he's playing like a first round pick this year at UNC. I think Detroit could definitely invest into the backup big position just in case there's like a Jalen Duren injury and Isaiah Stewart injury. A little bit better long-term upside, I should say, than B-Ball Paul. So we're on the clock here at 30 with the Washington Wizards. We took Koa Pete at 6. They're going to have a plethora amount of second round picks. And I think this team needs some defense. I'm going to take Dash Daniels here. I like Dalen Swain a ton, but I think they could look for more of a guard defender than a wing defender with this pick. And I do think Dash Daniels can be still the best point of attack defender, although the offense has not been great this year at Melbourne United. So that is going to be a new mock draft pre-trade deadline with a bunch of trades. So I didn't have any go in the lottery. We had the Bulls basically trade away out of Sunmi with Kobe White, that archetype, to OKC for pick 17. We had the Nets and the Warriors agree on a Michael Porter Jr. trade. We had Toronto trading for Domantas Sabonis. Bennett Sturts is now a Sacramento King. We had Dallas trading Anthony Davis to Charlotte, and then they ended up selecting Christian Anderson as well. So we had about 4 trades in here. Let me know if there's a trade that you think could have happened with how this mock draft played out. And if you guys do enjoy these mock draft videos, I'd appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. Probably won't do another one until maybe a big time trade happens, or most likely right after the trade deadline when we kind of know what the draft lottery picks are going to look like, what teams are going to own what. So I hope you guys did enjoy. Subscribe for the big board coming out soon. Catch you on the next one. Peace.